The turquoise coast, a haven for holidaymakers, provides a breathtaking backdrop for today's competition. But forget the sun loungers, because the third Artistic Gymnastics World Cup of 2025 is here. Welcome to Antalya on Turkiye's Mediterranean coast. We're a little west of the crossroads between Europe and Asia, today halfway through their World Cup season and a pivotal moment in their quest for glory. Wherever you are in the world, it's a pleasure to have you with us. I'm Karim Bashir, and today we'll start by focusing on the men's floor routines before moving on to the women's vault, men's pommel horse, then the women's uneven bars, followed by the men's rings. A good deal of action to absorb over the next few hours, but we'll conclude by crowning 5 new champions. A lot to look forward to. The World Cup has so far been to Cottbus in Germany and Baku in Azerbaijan, leading us here to the Ibrahim Cholak Gymnasium Hall in Antalya. A history maker, Cholak, his rings gold at the 2019 World Championships will surely serve as an inspiration for the athletes competing here today. I'm Karim Bashir, and today we'll be together for a sport where precision and poise meets strength and stability. So it's time for the action to begin at the third World Cup of the season here at the Ibrahim Cholak Gymnasium in Antalya, Turkey. Dynamism, artistry, and gravity-defying feats will be on display as the men's floor routines will get underway very shortly with this third World Cup of the season. And it's time to welcome the contenders for the final. Well, as the name suggests, floor gymnastics are done at ground level without the use of any equipment. The athletes will perform to music with athletic movements set in a dance choreography. The 8 contenders for the final came through qualification. So if you're new to Artistic World Cups, we'll have a split warm-up routine. The first 4 in the lineup will warm up right now and then come out and do their routines. Then we'll have another little mini warm-up period for athletes 5, 6, 7 and 8. Utilisation of the floor is a must. And you're looking for big jumps, leaps and tumbles to get the scores high. And these are the individuals who will be marking the athletes. Some rule changes between last year and this year as we go into a new Olympic cycle. Means that there are now just 8 counting elements, reduced from 10, including the dismount. The new dismount will affect the athletes' routines. The other big change is that the length of the routine has been reduced from 75 seconds to 70 seconds. Top qualifier, Taylor Burkhart from the United States of America, will go 6th. And he's got a little bit of a lead in terms of his qualification score over the rest of the 8 finalists. But those 7 that sit below Taylor Burkhart are actually crammed up pretty tightly in terms of qualification scores. Benny Tomszani from Hungary, wearing 125. The 23-year-old from Budapest who will kick things off. So Benedikt Tomszani, the 23-year-old from Budapest, will get the men's floor routines underway. A 13.367 was his score in qualification. Been a happy hunting ground for Benny Tomszani. Confidence building start. Very nicely done. The things you're looking for: form, smoothness, stability on landing, all looking very good. Little extra step there on that landing. New element this year, the balance element. Got through that pretty quickly. But all in all, a good start from Benedikt Tomszani, and with the bunch behind the American top qualifier, Taylor Burkhart, all pretty tight. So it'll be an interesting score. Well, work done. Very well-known athlete on the World Cup circuit. Let's take a look back at Benny Tomszani's routine. Solid landing on the first tumble. The floor work was excellent. .367 scored in qualification. A difficulty of 5.1 for that routine, which wasn't the lowest. 28 qualifiers. The medals could be contested here on execution scores. So 13-3 dead, a little lower. Second in the lineup, Ante Hribar from Slovenia, hailing from Ljubljana, the 22-year-old. Scored 13.567 in qualification. Just stepping out of the field of play there. Points will be docked. He's an improving athlete, the Slovenian. Continuing to build his World Cup experience here by making his first final. That's very solid indeed. Certainly getting a lot of height in his jumps, but there are a few marks potentially going down as his sister looks on. She'll be competing a little bit later on today. Scored 8.567 for execution in qualification. Understand the nerves that Hribar would have been experiencing. This was solid though, very stable. Just a little correction at the end. The first tumble just resulted in one step moving outside of the field of play, and that could damage Hribar's hopes. Anxiously waiting for that score. 13.3 was set, but a 13.667 moves the Slovenian up into top spot. Now for Norway's 20-year-old Sebastian Sponevic. It's from a little town just outside Oslo called Lørenskog, which boasts a surprising number of top athletes, including the 2004 Olympic sailing champion Siren Sundby, and a two-time Olympic javelin athlete, Trine Hattestad. Of inspiration there, but the first landing from Sponevic not going as he would have wished. Good recovery though. Correction required there. Now different balance position. And again, execution was the issue there for a second time in the routine. Didn't quite go the way Sebastian Spunovic would have liked. He's going to get marked down a couple of times there. First World Cup final for the Norwegian as well. (13.533) in qualification for Spunovic. Difficulties in the higher range. That affected his execution. He's never quite still in the scale. Well, difficulty high, execution the tricky bit. Scored 8.033 on execution through qualification. Finished 6th in the lineup for this final. So, a disappointing score for Spunovic. And that was down to a few errors on the floor. Now, the biggest cheer so far is for Emirhan Kartin from Türkiye, just 18 years old, making his senior international debut. So, it's an incredible feat to have made the final here in the floor event for Kartin. 7th through qualification with 13.433. Let's sit back and see what he's got to offer to his home crowd. Well, it could have gone a lot worse than that, especially after that early error of stepping outside the lines. Emirhan could have let that get to him, but he didn't. He spotted two absolutely spectacular landings, the first two tumble routines, straight after stepping out of the field of play. A tricky one for the judges here to judge, because other than that mistake right at the beginning, that didn't look bad at all. 13.667 the score to beat at the moment. They absolutely nailed that landing. Starting to get the feeling the athletes are still not quite comfortable with the new scale or balance element that's been introduced this year. So 13.667, the score to beat at the moment. Standard stepped up a little bit here because 13.667 was the score for the second best qualifier for this floor final. And a 13.2 puts him into provisional third place. And now the athletes warm up for the second rotation. Man standing on the edge there, Chuang Qilung from Chinese Taipei. He's due to go up next. We're also going to see this man here, Yan Ji. First final of the season for the athlete from the People's Republic of China. He's the man to beat, Taylor Burkhart from Arvada, Colorado. Completing the second rotation, Tanida Masaharu from Fukui in Japan. Second best through qualification. So the top four through qualification will fill the second rotation. And we start with Chuang Qilung, a 22-year-old from Chinese Taipei. Competed in challenger events before, but not at the World Cup. This is his debut. Very good indeed, the best we've seen so far. Well, that's new as well. Going into the balance from the floor. Very good indeed from Chuang Qilung from Chinese Taipei. The benchmark currently set by Shiba of 13.667. Fancy the difficulty of Chuang's routine there. It's just a touch higher. Did step out of the field of play once though. Nervy weight. .42.67 scored by Burkhart in qualification. Take a look back at Chuang. There's the mistake. Stepping outside the lines.
Yes, please. For exercise, finalists. United States of America.
13.667 then score to beat. He wants to be as far above that as he possibly can, Chuang. And it's a 13.334 penalty for stepping out of the field of play, but the difficulty actually down at 4.7, 4.9 in that qualification. Here's the top qualifier. Taylor Burkhart from the United States of America, the Stanford University student, is 22 years old. Big but quick adjustment on landing. Felt like you had to fight that one to stay inside the field of play. Couple of adjustments on landing, but otherwise very smooth. Balance wasn't quite still, but I don't think we've seen anyone in that scale position holding it completely still. Good wide arms handstand that was pretty solid. Tumbling, other than a couple of landings, it was pretty good. .4 difficulty in qualification, 8.767 on execution. The one where you thought he just had to fight to stay in the field of play, but then nails a couple of landings. This was good, and this floor work was, well, sublime. Coach happy. So we await the scores. This could be big. He wants to be at the top, that's for sure. With Yang and Tanida to follow. This is critical for Burkhart. The 2022 Pan American Championships gold medal winning team for the USA. Taking the junior Pan Am champs back in 2018, the team competition as well. So already for university student, he's got some big medals in his trophy cabinet. Well, moves up into first place. That's a bit of a drop from his qualification score of 14.267, but a 13.934 enough to go top of the pile, and that guarantees the American at least the bronze medal. Yang up next. 13.6 dead he scored in qualification. Difficulty score for his routine as well through qualies. First final of the season for Yang Ji. And another one to go clear outside the boundaries. And that could scupper his podium chances. Yeah, you can understand the face at the end there from the man from Guangxi. Guang meaning expanse, and yes, you are supposed to use as much of the floor as you possibly can. Travel across the expanse, but he went a little bit further than that, and a couple of the landings were not spot on. Difficulty in qualification, 5.5. Execution, 8.3. But a couple of penalties as well through quali. Ended up with a 13.6. As we take a look back at his finals performance. That first tumble routine going just outside the lines. Hands going down on the last tumble. Something about 13.667. Well, it's nowhere near, and that's down to poor execution, 6.0, lower than even his qualification. So Yang out of the medals, current standings, Burkhardt top of the pile from Hribar and Chuang. And here's our last contender, Tanida Masaharu from Japan, just 20 years old, qualified second of the Japanese team that won gold at the 2023 Junior World Championships right here in Antalya. Very nice indeed so far. Well, he could be pretty happy with that. I'm sure that's enough for the podium. Is it enough to challenge Burkhardt's 13.934? I think he thinks it is. I think it's going to be pretty close here. Anything above 13.334, and Tanida is on the podium. He's looking to challenge the 13.934 9.34 set by Taylor Burkhart of the United States of America for the gold medal. Landings were pretty good. The last one, perhaps the one with the biggest adjustment. But everything else pretty smooth. Perhaps not quite as complex as Burkhart on the floor. He thinks he's done enough. And it's not quite. 13.434. Can't quite believe it himself, but it does mean that he moves into third position, because a remarkable performance from the second runner, Ansi Hribar from Slovenia, has put him up into the silver medal position. Classified results then: Taylor Burkhart of the USA, top of the pile with gold on the men's floor, followed by Ansi Hribar with silver, and then Tanida Masaharu of Japan with the bronze medal. Well, coming out for their introductions are the contenders for the women's vault. Well, an interesting lineup here. Great deal of experience and a little bit of youth as well coming through this group of 8 women's vaulters. Well, just been through their introductions. I can tell you that the top qualifier, Jayla Hang from the United States of America, scored a 13.783 through qualification, and teammate Claire Pease sits in second through qualification with a 13.584. The two Americans are 1 and 2. And Hang will go second in the order. Pease will go last. Just going through their final warm-ups, the top 4, and that's Bengisu Ildis, who we've just seen, the 18-year-old from Turkey. Jayla Hang wearing 246. Hungarian Greta Muyer will be in the top 4 as well, along with Cheshire Kiselev from Slovenia. Just going through their final preparations here. And part of the new group of USA athletes coming through. The USA athletes tend to vault with higher levels of difficulty than the rest of the field, so often it comes down to their execution. Hang, you have to say, through qualification, her execution scores were exquisite, 9.033 on her first vault with a difficulty of 5, and then on a second vault with a difficulty of 4.2, she scored an 8.933. Picked up a couple of bonus points as well. Oh yeah, 18 years old, from Hungary. From Dunaújváros, roughly translated to New City on the Danube, just a little ways down from Budapest. Kasia Kiselev from Ljubljana. She's having a really good season, veteran of 7 World Championships. Last one was back in 2021. Career has been somewhat plagued by injury, but you never underestimate her. Let's not forget, she got the bronze medal at the last World Cup in Baku just a couple of weeks back on the vault. Get ready for double the excitement. The women's vault is about to get underway with 2 attempts to showcase their explosive power and technique. 8 athletes vie for a place on the Antalya World Cup podium. And starting us off, Yisu Yildiz from Turkey. That'll be the first part of gymnastics, the vault, entails performing a leap over a shape that's designed to resemble a horse. As you would have seen, they gather a bit of speed before using the springboard to launch themselves into the air, performing a variety of airborne twists and saltos. They have to do different vaults from 2 different families, and what that basically translates into is where the hands are on the approach as they hit the vault. 1 forwards, 1 backwards will get them bonus points. Yildiz got an overall score of 13.017 through qualification. All-round national champion on the for Turkey last year in Istanbul. That's floor and beam champion. This has vault medals in the World Challenge Cup Series, not at the World Cups. Nervy times in between the 2 vaults as the athletes wait for their scores to come through. Got to maintain their focus on their second jump, of course. They can't go until the score comes in. So 13 on the nose. bodes well for Venizu Yildiz to outperform her qualification vaults. High difficulty on this one in qualification. Just didn't quite nail the landing. She looked solid through the run-up. Hands are in a good position, but she just couldn't quite complete the final rotation. It's just not quite enough amplitude. Wanted to be a little bit springy off the board. Well, the draw for this final has put the lowest qualifier, Venizu Yildiz, up first. Top qualifier goes next, Jayli Yang, and overall a 12.367. USA Today voted Bellevue, Washington as the best place to live in the United States of America. That's where Jayli Yang is from. She'll be hoping Antalya is a pretty good place to live as well. 17-year-old is the 2022 USA national champion on the vault. Making her senior World Cup debut here in Turkey. She couldn't have asked for a better start. So putting in the higher difficulty vault first, as she did in qualification. Scored 14.033 in qualification, just a little bit lower in the final, but you can understand a 17-year-old might be feeling a little nervous. Concentration required for this vault now. Oh, she looks pretty happy with that, and I'm not surprised. Well, 12.367 the score to beat. I think we can safely be in the knowledge that Yang is going to do that. The question is, what's the margin going to be? Well, 13.667, just a fraction down from her qualification score of 13.783, but good enough to go top of the pile. Next up, Greta Moyer, 18-year-old from Hungary. Very good indeed. She got a lot of experience, even though she's just 18 years old, has plenty of vault World Cup medals, a couple of World Championship caps. She was 4th at the last World Cup in Baku. Most of her international medals have come on the vault, but she got a bronze in the beam in Baku. Good height to complete that rotation. Just a little lower than first vault in qualification, but she's going for something just a little bit more complex. So she did in qualification, slightly more difficult second vault. And she's nailed that pretty well as well. Just a little adjustment on the landing. That they're looking for were there. Hands hitting the vault in a good place. Tidiness in the flight. Straight legs through rotation. Stability on landing. Not bad at all, just a little half step. She's 13.167, moves her up into provisional second place as Chashir Kislev of Slovenia, 31-year-old, prepares for her first vault. Shorter run up. She certainly got the height she needed. Legs just a little untidy through the rotations. And a big old step to keep the balance. Just dropped the difficulty for a second vault in qualification, but with that, her execution came down a little bit, and she got a couple of penalty points. So execution absolutely critical here. Good enough for provisional second place at the moment for Kiselev. Well, she's happy with that. She's very happy with that. Can Kiselev get back-to-back podiums in the vault? These World Cups. Bronze in Baku just a couple of weeks ago. Big old leap off the springboard. Let's get her hands right out in front of her. got around through the twist and the rotations really well. Solid landing. Is it going to be enough to threaten the podium? She can't wait to get that score in. A 13.367, enough for second spot at the moment. So halfway through the women's vault, Yang of the United States of America leading with a 13.667 from Kiselev of Slovenia's 13.367, with Moira of Hungary in third place with 13.167. Second rotation, getting warmed up, 16-year-old Hawaiian, Claire Pease, in shot, going through her final preparation. Very composed. Hoffer from Liechtenstein, just 17 years old. She's not really too worried about the landing there. Absolutely lovely to have a Lithuanian athlete here making her World Cup debut and making the finals as a result of it. Here's an interesting athlete. Pranati Nayak, an Olympian from India, 28-year-old from Jhargram in West Bengal. It's a little bit of an all or nothing athlete. Execution scores in qualification were a little bit low, but if she can nail her vaults here in the final, she could threaten the podium. 2019 Indian all-around national champion, Nayak, one to look out for. And quite caught sight of the most famous in the lineup for the second rotation just yet. Five-time Olympian, waiting in the wings somewhere. So the women's vault will continue with Liechtenstein's Julia Weissenhofer. Liechtenstein athlete, just 17 years old, making her World Cup debut, scored a 13.050 in qualification. Keeping it simple. Keep it simple, you have to make sure you execute. Not the highest of difficulties through qualification, 3.8 and a 4.4 level of difficulty for her, 2 vaults, but she nailed them. Legs just a little bit bent through the rotation. Either a pike nor a tuck. Somewhere in between. And that is the result. The difficulty going down to 3.8, same as qualification. She went a little higher with her second vault, a 4.4 difficulty in qualification. happy to make it through her first final on her World Cup debut. You can see the anxiety on her face. She made her approach. The anxiety turned to determination, and it paid off. Big adjustment on landing, but fabulous to see Julia Weissenhofer representing Liechtenstein here at the Antalya World Cup in the women's vault. $13 dead is a very solid performance from Julia Weissenhofer. It hasn't threatened the podium here. We go from a new beginning to someone who's been around the block for a while, just shy of her 50th birthday. This is the legend that is Oksana Chusovitina from Uzbekistan, a 5-time Olympian, vault silver at Beijing 2008. She's still got it. A remarkable career where she's considered retirement on a number of occasions, but it just doesn't stick. Unbelievable for a 49-year-old. She competed as well as for Uzbekistan. Back to that in a second. She competed for Germany and the Soviet Union as well. Team gold for the unified team at the Barcelona 1992 Olympics. Silver for Germany in Beijing 2008. And the reason that she's not decided to retire is because she wants to get medals for Uzbekistan, her third nation, the third nation that she's represented. .13.467. That's going to challenge Yang. Vault number 2 then for Oksana Chusovitina. Well, very good indeed. Now this could prove a threat to the podium here. She's got a gold in Baku, bronze in Cottbus, so it should come as no surprise that at the third World Cup she could be going after a third vault medal. .34.67 vault number 1. Just look at the respect around this gymnastics hall from everyone involved in the competition. Coaches, athletes. You're in the presence of majesty. .13.367. The same score as Kiselev. As we move straight on to Pranati Nayak. pretty decent first vault. Hypercritical, just a little loss of form at the end of the vault. Did well to stick the landing, and he's so bent. That's a good start, that really is. She's the penultimate athlete to go as well, so if she could sneak into second, she's guaranteed herself a medal here. Oh, well done indeed, Pranati Nayak. The Indian Olympian is an all-or-nothing athlete, and she has put it all down here in Antalya. 13.367 or above will guarantee the Indian a podium here in Antalya. Form not spot on, but she got through it. 13.6 with her first vault. The second vault may not be quite as high as that, but could be enough for a place on the podium here in Antalya. Top score at the moment from Yang, 13.667, and a 13.417 is enough to guarantee at least a bronze medal for Pranati Nayak of India. Now, Claire Pease to the party, the second athlete from the USA, just 16 years old. Will be looking to cause a stir here. Second through qualification with a 13.584. Nervy moments though for the teenager. Correction on landing, but pretty good. Got a 13.867, the first vaulting qualification. Difficulty score is going to be right up there, as we know, with the USA female athletes. In terms of form, you've got to give it to her. The legs were together and straight. Wow, look at that. That is some start. It's just a little shy of Yang's first vault. Now, in qualification, Claire Pease just let herself down a little bit in her second vault, and I'm being super critical here. She dropped to a 12.9. Oh, but she has put that one on the money. Now is the top of the podium at threat here. Yang sitting on 13.667. Sits at the top at the moment. The American trailed by Nayak of India with a 13.417. Two Americans on their World Cup debut at 16 and 17 years old could well walk away from Antalya with vault gold and silver. Has the Hawaiian 16-year-old done enough here to erupt onto the world stage? (13.567) is enough for second place for Claire Please of the USA. She hasn't quite toppled her teammate Jayla Yang from the top spot. Here are the classified results. USA top with Hang from Pease, gold and silver going to the United States of America. But what a vault! A couple of vaults from Pranati Nayak of India to secure her place on the podium with bronze. Well, women's vault done. Next up, the men's pommels, as the 8 contenders make their way out to the stadium here in Antalya. Control, precision and elegant lines. The ultimate test of upper body strength and balance begins now. The men's pommels horse at the Antalya World Cup, and here are the finalists. Qualifying at the top of the pile, the Jordanian Ahmad Abu Al-Sud. As you can see, he goes in the first rotation in 4th place, along with the second top qualifier, Nariman Kurbanov, the Olympian, who will go 3rd. So our top 2 contenders from qualification will be going in the first rotation. Going to see challenges as well from the United States of America's Patrick Hoops, 22-year-old qualifying in 3rd place. Not too far behind him, Kazakhstan's Zaynullah Idrisov. Idrisov here, the 19-year-old. He's a specialist on the pommel. Suffers a little bit perhaps from living in the shadow of Kurbanov, his teammate, but he's a perennial medal contender. Certainly could threaten the podium here, as he did in Baku at the last World Cup, where he picked up the bronze. He's missed out on the pommel podium at the World Challenge Cup in Antalya here last year, finishing 4th. But often a World Cup result will give you something to work off. Ahmad Abu Al-Sud from Amman, the capital of Jordan, the most successful Jordanian gymnast of all time, and everyone on the circuit knows it's down to the huge amount of work that he puts in. 2022 World Bronze, 2023 World Silver, the first for any Jordanian gymnast. He's got an interesting story as well, as he was working his way up, in fact almost gave up because he found it so challenging. He suffered from anxiety. Going and getting those world medals, and then faced the prospect of going in to compete as a favourite. And he's talked about how he's suffered a little bit of anxiety looking over his shoulder at those coming up behind him. Slovenia's Gregor Rakovic will go first, the man from Maribor. He's just 20 years old. Another specialist on the pommel horse. First World Cup final, finished 12th in qualification at the Baku World Cup a couple of weeks ago. Cornerstone of artistic gymnastics that challenges the athletes to perform routines that require strength, balance and precision. Moving between the three sections of the pommel horse. The pommels are those grips on the top. Athletes move over the horse with their hands, performing maneuvers with their trunk and legs without stopping. Notoriously difficult to master. Upper body strength is absolutely critical to supporting the weight on the horse as the athletes swing their legs around, attempting to do so with fluid and flowing motions. So getting us underway, the men's pommel horse here at the Antalya World Cup, Gregor Rakovic of Slovenia. Skipped out the middle there. It's going to put his difficulty score up a little bit. This is solid. Oh, just started to lose the legs. Perhaps just a little bit of loss of concentration there. So you can see the collapse of the legs coming as he was preparing for the balance. Interesting to see that the routines are changing on the pommel horse, so the downgrading of the circular movements whilst facing downwards. We didn't see so many of those, and otherwise known as the Wende Schwing elements. They're used so much in the routines. Well, it didn't quite work out in the end for Rakovic. It's going so well as well, but in the end the Slovenian just couldn't quite complete the execution of his routine. Started so well, but then as he was looking to go into the balance routine, that's where the legs broke. He goes into his handstand, just thinking ahead perhaps. And then the focus had gone. So, big drop from his qualification score of 13.633. Next Next up, 19-year-old Kazakh Zenola Idrisov. Can he get back on the podium? 2 World Cups in a row. He got bronze in Baku a couple of weeks back, matching the result he got at the Cairo World Cup last year. So far, so good. The legs are tight, heels together. Difficulty. A couple of transitions across the middle without putting the hands in the middle. Now, execution. How are the judges going to view that one? He's not happy. Is, did he miss out elements of his routine? Is that what the problem is? We get another chance to look at his form here. Just catching the end of the routine. Judges looking to see whether the legs are glued together where they're supposed to be, or do the gymnasts split and bend them. 14.3, I mean, that's to sniff out, that's for sure. Scored a 14.233 in qualification. Now his teammate, Nariman Kabanov, the Olympian, got a silver medal at the Olympic Games in Paris last year. Two-time Asian champion, 2019 World University Games champion. The model of form and efficiency. Just look at the skips over the middle section as well, much like his teammate. Facing the difficulty of his routine. The legs just a little higher than Idrisov. Solid. So best time set so far was by Kabanov's teammate, Idrisov, 14.3. Well, that is a considerable step up. Now the top qualifier. Jordan superstar Ahmad Abul Al-Sud. .45.33 in qualification. Kabanov has put down a benchmark for the Jordanian to get up to, but look at the movement straight off the bat. Got to have supreme strength, power, discipline, concentration to keep up the rotations at this speed. And you've got to stay focused for the dismount. Or was there just a little slip there on the first placement of the hand from Ahmad Abu Al-Sud? Well, the first four have been through their routines. It was all looking so good until the very end. Speed, efficiency, difficulty, glide smoothness. And then that hand was the one that made the difference. Not the cleanest dismount. How will it affect his score? And it's not enough even for the silver medal position. Provisionally, Abu Al-Sud sits in third. He's behind the two Kazakhs, Kabanov and Idrisov. Worst news for him is we begin the second warm-up. We've got some contenders in here. Brandon Dang. He could threaten. Russell Akhmadzada. Azerbaijani from Baku, where the last World Cup was, qualified in 8th position, his first pommel World Cup final. Now a superstar, the Olympian Zhang Boheng. Team silver, all-around silver, horizontal bar bronze at Paris 2024 for the People's Republic of China athlete. Here's Brandon Dang, who will go 5th, born in California. He's a specialist on the pommel horse, took gold at the World Cup in Baku on his World Cup debut, raising his difficulty for the final by 0.2 points so that he could beat his teammate Hoops. And Hoops goes next. So the two Americans coming up now could challenge. Just joining us, you're watching the men's pommel routine and the final at the FIG Artistic Gymnastics 3rd World Cup of the season here in Antalya, Turkey. Brandon Dang, 19-year-old from the United States of America, looking to follow up from his gold medal performance at the last World Cup in Baku on the pommel horse. 14.634 the benchmark at the top at the moment, set by the Kazakh Nariman Kabanov. Now for the focus on the dismount. Not too bad. Anything above 14.2 will be enough for provisional podium. legs coming apart a little bit before the start of the dismount. He could get marked down there. There's a little bit of hope in that look.
United States of America. Second is second group, almost finalists.
We haven't had a confirmed score as yet. But Brennan Dang has made his way out from the athletes waiting area. I want to crack on because next up it's his teammate Patrick Hoops. Got the silver medal in Baku. Patrick Hoops, who's the NCAA 2024 champion on the pommel. Dang being sent back to the hot zone, the mix zone, where cameras are pointing at him as he waits for his score. Very much a goldfish bowl experience, isn't it, sitting there? The world watching on. Nerve jangling moments. Well, they must be reviewing certain elements, certainly more than one element of the routine from Brown and Dang, the judges. Because this is a lengthy review by anyone's standards. As I said, notoriously difficult to master the pommel horse. To use their arms and upper body strength to support their weight on the horse. And just at the end of Dang's routine, he just lost a little bit of form with his legs. It's a known point of weakness, if you like, for all gymnasts. The transition from your movement over the pommel horse and into your dismount. Got to stay completely focused. Finish off the rotations before moving in to typically a handstand dismount. Well, that would suggest there is an IT error rather than anything else. Crowd keeping themselves entertained, as are the various delegations around the Ibrahim Chalak Gymnasium. Starting to warm up here on the turquoise coast in Antalya. Very popular holiday destination. Temperatures starting to warm up in the venue as well. Difficult for Brandon Dang as he waits for his scores to come in, but spare a thought for the 3 remaining athletes. Prepare to come out pretty rapidly after your the athlete that's gone before you. Hoops, perhaps the least experienced of the 3 remaining athletes. Still took a silver medal at the Baku World Cup, but perhaps hasn't had enough game time, if you like, or competition time to have experienced this kind of delay so much as the other 2. Jang Boheng, multi-medalist from the Paris Olympics. Finally, there it is. Not quite enough. A 13 leaves Dang in 4th. Patrick Hoops, his teammate, out next. 22-year-old from Utah. Silver at the last outing. Single hand rotations on both hands, so difficulty scores not in a question. Execution so far pretty good. Legs perhaps could be a tiny bit higher on a couple of the sequences. Now getting ready for the dismount. Oh yes. Hello. After the long wait, Patrick Hoops has come out here in Antalya and put down a marker, I think. 14.634 set by Kabanov is the highest score so far. Hoops, though, has put down a great performance. Handshake there from Idrisov, currently sitting in 2nd place to his teammate Kabanov. Oh, be a delight to see this one again. Keeping his focus right the way through until the end, and that is a wonderful dismount. I think the best we've seen so far. And a threat here dropping out. 14.2, not enough to go even into 2nd place, and it is exactly the same score as Abul Al-Sud, the Jordanian, who stays in third place. Penultimate contender from Baku, Azerbaijan, the 20-year-old Razul Makhmadzada. Made the final of the parallel bars at the World Challenge Cup in Antalya in 2024. This is his first World Cup pommel final. Well, there's a lot in that. Difficulty was 5.4 in qualification, not really up with the marks set by Hoops and by Kurbanov. Is it difficult enough to challenge? 14.2 to break onto the podium, or more than 14.2. Didn't look as difficult as the man who preceded him, Hoops, who was unable to challenge the top three positions, currently occupied by Kurbanov, Idrisov, both from Kazakhstan, and Jordan's Abul Al-Sud. Well, 13.267 down to the difficulty score not being high enough. Now a man for the all-rounder, Zhang Boheng, the Olympian from the People's Republic of China, from Changsha, Hunan. He certainly could challenge the podium here. Hasn't got any international medals on the pommel horse. He's won 2 bronze and a silver medal at his national championships. No mean feat for a Chinese gymnast, and the difficulty just went up a notch there with missing out the middle part of the horse. Not bad dismount from Zhang. Now, can he do enough here? A 14.2, higher than a 14.2 for the podium for Zhang Boheng. Beautiful skills over the horse. $14.067. is not quite enough. So the classified results are in. Kazakhstan's Nariman Kabanov takes gold from teammate Zinola Idrisov, and Jordan's man about town, Ahmad Abu Al-Sud, takes the bronze medal on the men's pommel. Coming out now, the contenders for the women's uneven bars here at the Antalya World Cup. So the contenders for the women's uneven bars, 2 Chinese athletes, 2 United States of American athletes as well. And 3 of those 4 are the ones that we need to look out for. Yang Fanyuwei from People's Republic of China led qualification with a 14.8 dead. Teammate Tian Zhuo Fan second with 14.233. Claire Pease, who we've already seen on the vault, 16-year-old Hawaiian, third, but some way back at 13.5. We get 2 of the top 3 qualifiers going through in the first rotation, including both the Chinese athletes. The cleanest dismount there for Yang Fanyuwei. Also out in the first rotation we'll have Lucia Hribar, the Olympian from Slovenia, whose brother has already taken a medal in this section, wearing 252. Going through her warm-up rituals. 4th out will be Nazli Savran Bashi, the athlete from Turkey, who's competed at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. She's 5th on the uneven bars at the Baku World Cup. Silver for Hribar here in Baku. So she'll be looking to challenge. Number of elements the coaches are looking out for. The judges will be scoring. Swingfulness. Is it crisp, pretty, silky? Does it look nice or is it laboured? Don't want any stops, falls or hesitations. They're no-nos. Extension of the legs is going to get you good scores. Angles. Where do the gymnasts finish their pirouettes? Close to 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock? They're not there or thereabouts, they'll get deductions. And then we're looking out for combinations and then the transitions between the bars, of course. Nazli Savranbashi, the Turkey athlete, just waiting for the apparatus to be secured before she goes through her warm-up. question really of can any of the contenders here challenge the two Chinese athletes? Savram Bashi scored a 12.967 in qualification. Can she get that mark up? She's going to need to. A beautiful display of flow and elegance combined with incredible athleticism. The women's uneven bars are ready to thrill us here in Antalya at the third World Cup of the season. The first out from Yunnan, the 20-year-old from the People's Republic of China, Yang Fan Yu-Wei. Making her World Cup debut, qualified first at the 2024 Antalya World Challenge Cup. Finished 6th here last year. The event's been upgraded to a World Cup. And Yang is going to get the action underway. So Fang ready to begin the women's uneven bars here at the Antalya World Cup. The competition begins. So remember, we're looking for smooth transitions, solid rotations. The aesthetic elements tell a big story when it comes to this particular piece of apparatus. Wow, it's a solid start. You have to say, Yang Fan Yu-Wei, whilst we have no benchmark at the moment, provided us with a routine of beauty and smoothness, accuracy. Very little to criticize there. Is the difficulty rating as high as her 6.6 in qualification? She ended up with a 14.8. pleasure of looking back at it. So next out, Lucia Riba, Olympian from Paris, specialist in the uneven bars. Silver at the last World Cup. She's going for gold here in Antalya. Again, it comes down to this difficulty level. Had a difficulty of 5 through qualification, execution mark of 8.06. Not the highest, but certainly not the lowest. And it's only good enough for second place at the moment, 12.934. Not enough to topple Yang from the top. Second of our Chinese contenders now, Tian Zhou Fan, just 16 years old, making her first international outing here in Antalya. So Tian Zhou Fan targeting her teammates' benchmark at the top of the order in the women's uneven bars. Beautiful reverse transition through to the higher bar there for the 16-year-old. Just a little corrective step at the end. Coach happy with Jan's performance. And for sure the People's Republic of China will be targeting the top 2 spots in this women's uneven bars competition. transition back from the low bar to the high bar was particularly nice to watch. Not quite up at 12 o'clock. That was the transition. It was absolutely stunning. And the dismount pretty good. Just that little corrective step. Well, quite a big corrective step, I should say. So only enough for second place at the moment. But 13.867 is a little bit of a drop from the 14.233 that she got in qualification. Now Turkiye's Nazli Savranbashi. 5th at the last World Cup on the uneven bars. She has taken gold in the uneven bars here in Turkey, in Mersin in 2019 when the World Challenge Cup was held there. '20 Turkish all-around champion. Looks calm and steady. Big step on the dismount, but pretty nice from Savranbashi. That could be enough to move her up into third. Will be after the first rotation. We still have Pease and Yang for the United States to come out, along with Sij and Guerra from Hungary and Mexico. They begin their warm-ups. We take a look back at Savranbashi's performance on home soil. The Olympic rings, testament to her appearance at the delayed Olympic Games of Tokyo 2020. Different experience that would have been for this Turkiye athlete compared to competing here on home soil in Antalya. Empty stadiums there in Tokyo, certainly not the case here in Antalya. .12.934 the score to beat to get onto the provisional podium. And it's not quite enough. So medal prospects gone for Nazli Savranbashi in the women's uneven bars. Jayla Hank just going through her final preparations as she will go in the second rotation, the 6th athlete to go. So her teammate goes out a couple of places after her. Paulina Guerra from Mexico, competing for Mexico. First time at an FIG event. Claire Pease, USA also going. She'll be the last athlete out. And this is Emeshe Sij, 15-year-old. Pease looks really composed. She's just 16, remember, the Hawaiian. So the athletes just going through their final prep for this second rotation. MSJ Sij, she scored a 12.567 in qualification to qualify 7th. Finished 11th at the Baku World Cup on the uneven bars. 9th in the beam, in the balance beam. And of course, if you are wondering when we'll see the balance beam, well, that will happen in our second day of live coverage from Antalya tomorrow, where we have 5 more events to come. Men's vault, women's balance beam, men's parallel bars, women's floor and men's horizontal bar to come tomorrow. But of course, we've got one more event to come after the women's uneven bars today, and that is the men's rings. So if you are just joining us, then we're watching the warm-up for the second rotation of the women's uneven bars here at the Antalya Artistic Gymnastics World Cup. MSA Ada Sij from Hungary just going through her last couple of rotations of the bars ahead of the conclusion of this women's competition. So the 1, 2, 3 at the halfway stage. Yang from the People's Republic of China ahead of her teammate Tian, and it's 3 bar of Slovenia sitting in 3rd place, but 4 more to come. And first up, it's the youngest member of the field from Dunawi Varos in Hungary. It will be the 15-year-old Mese Ada Sij. So solid through the landing. She's waiting for her scores. (12.934) to get onto the provisional podium. And it's not quite enough. 14.800 from Yang. Nearly a full point up from the next best. What can Jayla Hang do about this? The Bellevue, Washington State resident, just 17 years old. She only got a 12.833 in qualification. She's going to have another crack at it right now. Oh, and that's not going to help. just got away from her a little bit. What a shame. But let's not forget, just 17 years old. I feel like the pressure's off a little bit now, and she can just go through her routine as though it was a training exercise. And that's a difficult transition from the low bar to the high bar. She winds it up for the dismount. Not bad at all. The fall will rule her out of contention. We wait for the confirmation of the final scores for Jayla Hang. But can pretty safely say that Yang has confirmed her place on the podium, with 2 athletes left to go. The worst she can finish is with bronze. Got to give it to Jayla Hang, having had the fall, knowing that the podium was out of reach, could have let her head go down and forget about it. Coach intervening and saying, right, you got a chance to do this now with no pressure on you. Go out there and perform. You can then get an appreciation of what it's like to be in a high-pressured situation and learn from it without having all that pressure on you, because you know the medal's gone. Good coaching. Gotta wonder what's going through her head at the moment. Something along the lines of, get me out of here now. I know I've not got a medal. It's the last women's event of the day. I'm gonna get myself down to the amphitheatre. Gonna have a little sightseeing around the wonderful city of Antalya. Or perhaps have a little apple tea somewhere. It's good to see her soaking it up. Just 17, remember. Fledgling career that has already been decorated quite substantially. Vault gold at the national championships, and there finally the score for 5th place as things stand. So now, the Mexican, Helena Guerra, 24 years old, from Monterrey, originally competed for the United States of America, but switched to Mexico last year. Another disappointment there. just got away from the bar a little bit. Getting straight back to the routine and wanting to land the dismount, because if you don't, you lose so many points. So more for the records than anything else, but can't see that challenging Yang or Tian at the moment, and I doubt it will get anywhere near 3 bar either. Was just caught onto that one, and then it was this transition, I believe, or this rotation that the fall came from right now. Just got a little bit away from the bar, but good on her to get back up and finish the dismount. Paulina Guerra from Mexico, competing for Mexico, awaiting her scores. Well, the fall and the difficulty levels contribute to an 11.367. So the last of the athletes coming out now, 16-year-old Hawaiian Claire Pease from the United States of America, 2024 US champion on the uneven bars, as well as the beam and the all-around, making a senior World Cup debut. Has already got herself a medal in the vault. What can she do on the bars? Those of the asymmetric variety. Looking to challenge the podium. She needs to beat 12.934. Looking solid. I fancy that Sia Hribar may be a little nervous. I'm not sure it's enough to chase down Tian Zhuofan, the People's Republic of China athlete in silver medal position. But if it starts with a 13, this is a podium. Second one of the day, if she can get it, from Claire Pease. The second podium of the day for the Hribar family, if Lucia can stay in third position. Brother Ance has taken a medal in the men's floor event, silver medal in fact. I see a good deal of camaraderie between the two US athletes, and that really is the future of women's gymnastics in the United States of America. Pease and Hang, just 16 and 17 years old. Everybody nervously looking on. I think we can safely say that Yang Fan Yu-wei is unlikely to get moved from top position with a 14-8 dead with her uneven bars routine. Chan Zhuofan, also from the People's Republic of China, with a 13.867 clear in the silver medal position. And then it's Lucia Hribar, who's probably going to be the most nervous at a 12.934. Could get threatened by Claire Pease right here. Pease just taking it in her stride. Chan on the phone with her US competitors right next to her. Perhaps they're trying to order their dinner. It's amazing how Claire Pease can stay so relaxed and composed, given that she's potentially going to get a second podium of the day here on her Senior World Cup debut. Well, high fives all around, and that is why it's not only good enough for the podium, it's good enough for silver. And Hribar has been demoted off the podium. Yang Fan Yu-wei, top of the pile from the People's Republic of China. Claire Pease sneaking into the silver medal position, and Chan Zhuofan having to settle for the bronze medal. The most disappointment will come in the hands of Lucia Hribar from Slovenia, just missing out on the podium. Without further ado, we'll move on to the men's rings competition here at the third World Cup of Artistic Gymnastics 2025 season. Time for the men's rings contenders to get announced out to the crowd here at the Ibrahim Kolach Stadium. So 8 contenders again for the men's rings final. Need to look out for the man going second from the People's Republic of China, Zhang Boheng. Qualified first with a 14.6. The team silver at the Paris 2024 Games. He is an all-rounder, but he has been performing super well here. Second best qualifier, teammate Lang Qingyu. Perhaps a future Olympian looking on in the gymnastics arena. Vahin Davchan, another one to look out from Armenia. He will go 5th in the second rotation. Zhang is on the rings now, goes second. 25-year-old, well, just had his birthday a couple of days ago, in fact, on the 4th of March. Going into first rotation, Zayed Al-Khalidi, the 18-year-old man from Amman in Jordan. Got 8th spot in qualification. He'll go first. He'll be followed by Zhang. Got a fancy for a medal here. Then the rings gold medalist from the Baku World Cup, which was just a few weeks back, Nikita Simonov from Azerbaijan. He's going out in third. He could challenge as well. And in that first rotation will be completed by the Japanese team junior gold medalist, Tanida Masaharu. There is Masaharu just going through the final rotations. This is more about just getting the muscles back up to temperature, getting everything stretched out. They don't even bother too much about the landings, mainly to preserve and protect ligaments and tendons. Still rings, as they're known. Looking for angles, looking for smoothness. Watch out for the handstands, the stillness of those positions. Are they shaking or can they stay completely still? And then, of course, the dismount. The stage is set and the athletes are ready to showcase their incredible strength, power and poise. Who will conquer the rings here in Antalya? Up first, Zayed Al-Khalidi from Jordan. Just struggling with the stillness there. Just going over a little bit on balance a couple of times, and the dismount wasn't absolutely nailed. Competed at the 2023 Junior World Championships here in Antalya. In this venue, got a 12.466 in qualification there. Just a little bit of shaking on the hold. 12.733 set in qualification for these finals. just didn't get the dismount. Execution in qualification 7.733. And it's hard to know that whatever's coming from the judges is not going to be enough to challenge the podium. We seem to be having more IT issues. Frustrating for all concerned, especially you, the viewer, but in particular the athletes and the judges out there that are coming into the last event of the day. And let's not forget they've been through qualification for the past few days as well. Judges will want the systems to be working accurately. Well, I want them to be as efficient as the athletes being showcased here at this World Cup. Well, it appears that we will have to wait just a little bit longer for the scores for Zaid Al-Khalidi. Contender number 2, Zhang Boheng, People's Republic of China's Olympian, up and ready to go. Well, you can see already the difference, the smoothness, the stillness. Going into near completely stationary after wicked rotations. Oh, and a big step back, a couple of corrective steps for Zhang on a dismount. Up until that point, it was looking very solid indeed, and I suspect we'll see a bit of variation in the points between Al-Khalidi and Zhang, but perhaps not as much as it might well have been. remarkable to be able to stay that still. Your body's going through so much strain, and the dismount was just the only slight thing to let him down, just over rotated. So enough for first place, not as high as his 14.6 in qualification, but that's probably down to the landing on the dismount. Simonov from Azerbaijan up next. Qualified fourth with a 13.8. Surprisingly low difficulty score of 5.1 in qualification, but don't let that threaten for you. He can threaten the podium. Can he get into the 14s? Oh, that's lovely. So a lot of stillness and hold. There's the handstand. Just a little bit of movement there. Oh, what strength, power and poise. Beautiful. It was gold in Baku at the World Cup a couple of weeks back. World Cup number 2. Can he get back-to-back gold medals here in Antalya? That was a pretty good routine. Difficulty doesn't need to be so high if your execution is that good. Transitions from one still position to another were a mark of that routine. He thinks it's enough. So gold in Baku, in his home city. Like I say, a couple of weekends ago at the last World Cup. Is it gold here in Antalya? It's provisional gold, and he's well into the 14s, a 14.267. It'll be interesting to see who around him can challenge. Will it come from Lan or Davtyan? Or indeed this man here, Tanida Masaharu from Japan, the 20-year-old, scoring a 13.3 in qualification. Won the rings silver at the 2023 Junior World Championships, but has stepped up to senior level since. He's just steadied the movement. He's supposed to be still. Oh, and he had to really throw that twist in at the end. But this could challenge the podium as well. He's pretty happy. Well, the athletes for the second rotation will start their warm-ups as we wait for Tanida's score. Had markers of the Nikita Simonov routine. Lots of transitions from still positions to still positions. Didn't quite hold the rings as still as Simonov, who I fancy will stay at the top of the pile, but the dismount landed very well. Only enough for third place. So the provisional standings see Simonov of Azerbaijan in first, from Zhang of the People's Republic of China in second, and then Tanida from Japan in fourth, as we move over to the split warm-up for the second grouping. That was Vahen Davtyan from Armenia going through his warm-up. Now the People's Republic of China's Lang Qingyu, 27-year-old from Liuzhou province. Sorry, I should say Liuzhou city in Guangxi province. He's the 2021 world champion in the rings. 2022 Asian Games champion as well in Hangzhou, on home soil. Turkey have someone to look at too, as they will see Mehmet Koshak go out in 7th position, and teammate Yunus Gündoğdu going out 8th. Koshak probably with a more realistic chance of challenging the podium, although saying that Gündoğdu is has a routine of particularly high difficulty, right up there with Davtyan and Zhang. Zhang sitting currently in the silver medal position. First out though, Armenia's Vahen Davtyan, 36-year-old from the capital city of Yerevan. Well, did remarkably well to arrest the shakiness. Didn't spot the landing, and up until then pretty good. I'm not sure it would be enough to challenge the podium, even if he nailed the landing. For gymnastics fans around the world, who perhaps not necessarily from Armenia, but you support your country. But I think everyone agrees that it was a fairy tale story watching this man qualify for the Paris Olympic Games. Focused on execution rather than difficulty. He's claimed 3 European Championships and 1 European Games rings medal. 6th on the rings in Paris, just missing out at those Olympic Games. Serial World Cup medalist. Fine margins though make such a difference, and that landing could be the difference between him making or not making the podium. Well, not enough. So Davjan has been and gone now, a man that certainly could challenge the podium. Another one. Lan Qingyu. 14.3 in qualification. That would be enough to go top of the pile ahead of leader Simonov from Azerbaijan. Well, well, well. 14.267, the target for top spot. Perhaps not quite the technical prowess as the man whose hand he's just shaken, Nikita Simonov. Perhaps the difficulty was just a little bit higher, and that will push him onto the top spot provisionally with 2 more athletes to go here. The transitions from a still position to a new still position, absolutely sublime. Legs just tipped over a little bit in the handstand. But he nailed this dismount. You've got to think he's put himself onto the podium provisionally. But has he gone to the top of the pile? (14, 5, 6, 7). It is 0.3 of a point up on Simonov's score and puts Lan top of the pile with 2 to go. So the provisional leaderboard sees Lan, the People's Republic of China, from Simonov from Azerbaijan, from Zhang of the People's Republic of China. Next up, Mehmet Koshak, the 24-year-old from Konak, just 500 kilometers away on the Aegean Sea, competing on home soil here in Turkey. Tell you what, this is looking pretty good so far. Oh, wow, that's very good, and no wonder the crowd are cheering. Yes, it's for a Türkiye athlete, but that was an accomplished performance by Mehmet Kozak. Targeting Zhang, sitting in third place at the moment. Zhang Boen from the People's Republic of China, who's got a 13.934. He is in the bronze medal position at the moment. And look at the support he's getting, and congratulations from his competitors. Even the Chinese coach thinks that this might be too good. Maybe even Zhang himself there was shaking his hand saying, well done, that's enough. This could be one happy day for Türkiye. Remember, 13.934 is the score that he'll be looking at, but as we look back at the replay of that routine, you have to say that's a stunning performance from Mehmet Kozak. It is enough for bronze, 14.067. He's got himself up there. Well, now another man that could surprise. Yunus Gündoğdu. Only 7th through qualification, but he has a very high difficulty score to his routine. If he can nail it, he could push his teammate off the podium. It's a little bit more movement than we saw from Kozak. Big step away from the dismount. A little bit more movement from Kozak. It guaranteed at least a bronze medal here in this competition. I don't think Gündoğdu has done enough to threaten more. It was a good performance. The problem is it followed an absolutely, well, glittering performance from Mehmet Kozak. Eager anticipation. Well, classified results will be in very shortly here, and there we are. Wasn't quite enough from Gündoğdu. So top of the pile, Lan Qingyu from the People's Republic of China. Silver medal to Azerbaijan's Nikita Simonov. And Türkiye, through a sparkling performance from Mehmet Kozak, take the bronze medal in the men's rings competition. Well, that concludes the action on the apparatus here on day one of our live coverage of the Antalya Artistic Gymnastics World Cup. Coming up very shortly, we will be presenting the medals for the 5 apparatus that have been on show here today. Tomorrow, we'll come back with the second and final day of coverage from this World Cup, featuring the men's vault parallel bars and horizontal bars, along with the women's balance beam and women's floor event. That's it from the action on the floor coming up soon. We'll turn our attention to the medal ceremonies here in Antalya.
Now, we start with the start and fighting both up by the vote to the ceremony. We start with the floor exercise. First place up final bronze medal.
Time now for the men's floor medal ceremony here at the Antalya Artistic Gymnastics World Cup. Bronze medal going to Tanida Masaharu of Japan. Ansei Hribar of Slovenia collecting the silver. But like Lewis Ralston, who first found gold in the Rocky Mountains, Colorado's Taylor Burkhart has claimed his first World Cup gold medal from the United States of America. Unorthodox for all medalists to be given their medals at the same time, but it's quick. Taylor Burkhart from the United States of America taking the men's floor gold medal here. Ansei Hribar from Slovenia claiming a silver, and Tanida Masaharu with bronze. Now we move on to the women's vault medal ceremonies. A performance from the top draw for Pranati Nayak from India to take the bronze medal. Parking from the volcanic island of Hawaii, 16-year-old Claire Pease has erupted onto the world stage with silver, but it's her teammate from Bellevue, Washington, just 17 years old, Jayla Hang, who's collected the women's vault gold medal here in Antalya. Fantastic performance from the USA was to be expected. 17-year-old taking gold in Jayla Hang. Claire Pease just 16 with the silver. India's 28-year-old Nayak completing the podium. Move straight on to the medal ceremony for the men's pommel horse. The Jordanian Ahmad Abu Al-Sud claimed the bronze medal in a tight competition, but Kazakhstan lead the way as Zainola Idrisov takes the silver medal as his teammate Nariman Kurbanov takes gold. What an event for Kazakhstan. Tight times for Abu Al-Sud, but Idrisov updated the Baku bronze to silver, outdone by teammate from Kazakhstan, Nariman Kurbanov, the champion of the Antalya men's pommel horse. We move straight on to the medal ceremony for the women's uneven bars. China's Tian Zhuofan, just 16 years old, taking the bronze. It's the second medal of the day for the USA's 16-year-old Claire Pease, as she took the silver on her World Cup debut. But top of the pile for the Chinese team, Yang Fan Yuwei from Yunnan. She's been here before in Antalya, but never medaled. She's left it to a World Cup debut to go top of the pile. World Cup debut also for the USA athlete Claire Pease with silver. What a performance here from her. And at just 16, Tian completing the podium. China ruling the roost in the women's uneven bars. Yang with the gold, Tian with bronze. And Claire Pease is the story of the day today so far in Antalya, her second medal in the women's apparatus at the artistic gymnastics, and she's just 16 years old. Well, coming up next, it's the men's rings medal ceremony, the last of the ceremonies. What a competition it was as well. Zhang falling by the wayside. But what a performance from Turkiye's very own Mehmet Kozak. A standing ovation here in the Ibrahim Çolak Gymnasium. A stunning performance as well from Azerbaijan's Nikita Simonov, relying on execution accuracy rather than difficulty. But a difficult routine performed and executed absolutely brilliant was enough for gold for Lan Qingyu. China's Lan Qingyu with the top step on the podium from Azerbaijan's Nikita Simonov. Turkiye's Mehmet Kozak. Well, what a final apparatus to finish on today on the first of 2 days of live coverage. Lan Qingyu proving that difficulty was the way forward. He scored well to take gold in the men's rings. Nikita Simonov, though, absolute perfection on the rings with silver. And what a great end to the day for the host nation, with Mehmet Kozak of Turkey collecting the bronze medal. That's it from day one of our live coverage. We begin tomorrow with a spring in our step as we go start the program with the men's vault. Then we stable things up with the women's balance beam before moving on to the parallel bars, women's floor and men's horizontal bar. But for now, thanks for joining us here at the Antalya World Cup.